Hi, I'm Sophia Jessica, and this is Angel, and welcome to the fan carpet.
Thank you so much for bringing us such a wonderful film in Little Rock. But let's before we talk about Little Rock, let's talk about your career. How did you first get started in this industry?
Yeah, so I began as an editor actually. I started in documentaries. So I began filming a lot of bands and running around. I actually come from a musical background first and foremost. So I started in that kind of world of running around with the camera and shooting bands, and then started working as an editor for a production company making documentaries, which we made a series for Sky Arts that was called Down the Tracks. And that was a really amazing apprenticeship, like an incredible way to get into the industry, straight into editing rather than kind of having to run and kind of do all that kind of side of it. So I got really lucky there. And also it just meant that I learned how to cut before I learned how to direct, which is always a good thing because you kind of need to be able to cut in your head as you're directing quite a bit. And then the music side of things kind of also fed into a lot of what I was doing. So I now, even now, kind of bespoke score a lot of my work with my old bandmate that I used to play in a band with, and it's all kind of tied in together quite nicely. And yeah, it just kind of came up through documentary and then commercial work and trying to kind of always move into drama. And yeah, that's kind of where we find ourselves now.
Awesome. We have very similar paths.
Really, yeah,
Yeah, we have
same
very
way.
similar paths. I myself used to go around with bands. My best mate is the lead singer and guitarist for a band in North London called Spider Redundant.
Ah, okay, cool. I don't know, but
I've
that was
I've known my best friend since I was 14, so
wow.
you know, but yeah, funny that I used to run around with bands a lot,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
being their
yeah.
being their roadie, and I mean, I think there's a picture of it. There should be a picture of it of me sitting on a drum kit while they're playing,
Nice. Yeah, brilliant.
um, because I had already taken the footage I needed for their music video.
Right, right, right.
So I sat on the drum kit because it was moving. So
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Rob can't play like that. So yeah, well he can, but
It's a
he
great
can.
world to come up through. It's a great world to come up through because you're not just learning about being agile in the moment. I mean, I ended up working for NME magazine, so that was like really thrust into the music world at that point. And I worked for that magazine for about 5 years. Just again, then you're running around with much bigger bands, but it
Mm,
all kind of came through always with a camera in my hand and a kind of band in front of me. So it's yeah, it was
yeah.
a good apprenticeship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great training grounds. Awesome. What can you tell us about Little Rock and what it was that made you want to tell this story?
Yeah, so Little Rock is a story that came out of the charity Younger People with Dementia approaching me. So I'd already made a film with them 2 years prior, which I'd written as a script first, which is kind of my approach to all of these things really is write the story first, make sure the
Mm,
narrative is there, make sure it's serving as a piece of emotional kind of narrative first, and then I approached them with the idea of this half an hour film, whereby we were kind of exploring the ideas of the kind of main character who's played by Kate Dickie, who's an incredible actor if you know her,
I do.
and
I've met her
yeah,
too.
yeah, she's amazing, isn't she? She's like my
She's
hero, and
yeah, she's wonderful. I've met her. I met her at the London Film Festival a few years ago.
oh,
Um,
brilliant, yeah.
can't remember what the film was but it's Kate Dickie, so it's going to be incredible
Yeah, yeah,
whatever she's in.
exactly.
So, you
Well,
know.
that was it. I couldn't believe how lucky I got. I couldn't believe how it was such a incredible experience because I wrote it with her in mind, and then I
Mm,
approached her, not really thinking we'd get her, and then she came on board straight away. And she's got a very personal relationship with dementia, because her mother lived through dementia as well, and also as a younger person. So it all tied in with this script. And the whole script for that idea was about memory as your time travel. So your memory being your only way of going back in and in time. But then we wanted to take that away from the character and have her focus all her attention on actual time travel, the theory of time travel that she could never quite get to grips with. And so that was the concept for that first film. And the charity came on board. They partnered with us. They helped us make it. We went up to an island in Scotland called Easdale, which is really close to my heart because it's where my wife's gran lived, and we always used to spend time up there. So that's why I set the film on that island. And so we cast it all Scottish cast with Jamie Sivers and David Carlisle, an amazing cast. And then we made that, and then that film had been so brilliant and effective for the charity. I think because it had integrity at its heart, it wasn't in any way commercial. There was no commercial agenda. It just worked so well for the charity. So we did a lot of screenings with it. We screened it at the Everyman Cinema. I would do a lot of Q&As. I would do a lot of events for the charity where I would speak about the film. Kate would come along and she's spoken as well, really. And we made a little documentary about it. And then from that, and the charity also used that film really effectively to kind of inspire their own staff and people that are maybe forget why they're in this kind of charitable sector, and that personal story kind of cuts through a lot of that bureaucracy and all that kind of side of things. So yeah, it was really effective for them. And so then they asked me to write another script, which was brilliant, and they wanted to look at the idea of a younger person with dementia being cared for by a teenager, by a teenage loved one. So I kind of got to writing, and I had this, kind of, it was a bit of an epiphany really. I always had this idea around someone learning a piece of music, and obviously not sure how much I can give away the twist, but it all hangs on that kind of crux of that turning point where you realize that what has been taken away from her dad, and how dementia doesn't care about what you've achieved in life, and it also doesn't care about who you love. And that was the crux of what I was trying to write and project. And then I've tried to do it with this kind of very short, tight little story arc, which is where we find Little Rock. And in doing so, I researched a lot. The charity sent me lots of diary entries of real teenagers, and these teenagers just write from the heart. They write these very personal diary entries that they very kindly share for people to be able to understand better. And I read them, and it's genuinely found myself very moved and kind of really compelled to write this story after going through all those. And some of the things that raised were, how the younger parent, because they're still physically fit, there's often cases of domestic violence in the house because the loved one is being forgotten, and so there's less patience there. And when you remove the love, which is often case, attached to memory, then it's amazing what that can do for a fractured relationship. So yeah, that's where it all came from. And the charity were brave enough to let me keep some of those warts and all elements in this story. I mean, I know we only hint at the domestic violence, but it's there to kind of show that beyond the losing the memory of a loved one, there's also a physical side of things, which is really brutal, and it's just so heartbreaking when you read it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got I'm not domestic violence side of things, but I've definitely got like dementia um experience in my family. My
Yeah,
grandparents had it. And
yeah,
that's what. So I was in so I went to visit my nan in Wisbech in the care home that she ended up in, and she didn't recognize me. But I sat there
yeah,
for
yeah,
two
yeah, yeah,
hours. I sat there for 2 hours with her while she was in bed.
yeah,
I mean, I made the made the journey up to Wisbech, knowing full well she's not going to recognize me.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, you kind of, that's
it's,
where love takes over, and it's beyond the nuts and bolts of a conversation or memory, isn't it? I'm right there now. My grandma is in the dementia ward in Guildford,
mm,
and and funnily enough, I've got another loved one that's just gone through the memory clinic, and that was all. This has all happened since writing both of these films. So I'm so deep in this world now, where I go to a lot of conferences and I do a lot of Q&As for this film screenings, and yet art imitates life and life imitates art, and I
yeah,
still I find myself to go, to the dementia ward and visit my grandma, and then have to go through the memory clinic with another loved one. So it's really interesting, that world, and it's kind of opened my eyes a lot. Just I've learned a lot writing these films.
Yeah, I bet. And you've got an incredible cast, once again. Like like she was definitely one of the standouts from adolescence for me.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
um
glad to hear you say that.
can you talk about just talk about her casting process, because obviously the film hinges on her and what she brings, because like
Yeah.
it's not all in what she says, it's also in like her like movements as well.
Yeah, yeah, Amelie's amazing. I was just it's exactly the same story as with Kate Dickie. I wrote the script with Amelie in mind. I wrote in her freckles and I wrote in her nose piercing. I wrote it all in there, right? It was all on the page. And then I approached her just because I'd seen her, and for me she was such a big standout. And a lot of people were getting loads of recognition through adolescence, and I just felt like, yeah, she just blew me away in that. So I was so thrilled when she said yes. So there was no casting. It was just me keeping my fingers crossed that I could get her as my first choice. And she yeah came on board, and I went and met her and had dinner with her and spoke to her, and she's been amazing. Yeah, we've become good friends. She's great, and I just think she's going to go and do massive things, and I'm hoping this film showcases what she's capable of. Because she'd never done anything before adolescence. This is only her second project,
Mm,
and she, to the point where she couldn't believe we were cutting the cameras. Because adolescence is this single oneer. Her experience is that's her experience so far. So when I was asking her to give us smaller and smaller takes as we were getting the camera closer and closer, because we were magnifying the emotion, she was kind of like really interested in that and just hadn't really had that experience. It was all just that one camera move element of adolescence that she had experience with. So yeah, that was really fascinating to understand that as well. But yeah, she was amazing, honestly, and she's so talented. When she bursts into the bedroom, we only got one take at that because I didn't want her to go to too dark a place. But she just took the character on as her own, went into the bathroom. We rolled the camera for 10 minutes or so. I've got about 10 minutes of just the back of a door empty, and then she bursts through in the moment, and we just captured it. And the focus puller was nervously having to hit the marks. But
yeah.
that was it. I just knew we'd only have one take, and we did it in one take, and that was it. No extras, no backup. So
Mm,
yeah, yeah, it
yeah.
was good.
Well, that's something you need for the authenticity of the piece, because like if it's like take after take after take, it loses its agency.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. I gave her one bit of direction, which was don't put your hands up to your face when you come in. And she immediately, in that one take, she put her hands up, but her hands were shaking. And so it added so much. It was such a, so yeah, it was great. I mean, she was just, yeah, she blew me away, honestly. I remember going down to the video village, which was down at the bottom of the house where everyone was sat, the charity, the production company, the other actors. And I went down there to kind of boldly say, "Did you see that?" Because it was so incredible. And I just broke down and I cried genuinely. I was so mortified. I pulled myself out the room immediately, and everyone kind of came in to see me, bless them. But like, I wasn't expecting the tears to come, but she just really affected me. It was really interesting.
Yeah, she's an incredible talent and one to watch, definitely. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and Adolescence, that series was incredible. Um,
Yeah.
and like there's what they were able to do technically with like the one shot, like the whole thing, all episodes of one shot.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary what they were able to pull off.
Yeah, yeah, blew me away. Yeah, I know. I was blown away. But I can't help but watch these things with an editor's eye, with a director's eye, and it sometimes ruins it. It certainly ruins it for my wife when I keep mentioning things. But yeah, I still that even with that, even with all those logistical feats that they managed to achieve, I still got lost in the story, which is such a testament to what they did,
Mm,
and also what I really was influenced by with adolescence, I guess, as well, was that it had such a social impact, and that's what I'm hoping we can achieve with this. And And that's why I want to do more films with charities, because you get to, you just get to make a little bit more than just an artistic impact. You get to hopefully make a social impact as well. And you're hoping to, move people first before having these discussions. If you can move people, if you can tap into their emotional imagination and their emotional intelligence, then the conversation becomes so much more pertinent afterwards, rather than just a 30-second charity commercial with a telephone number on it. I think adolescents massively excelled in that.
Mm, absolutely. Just on a global scale.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
like partnering with Netflix with adolescents was just incredible for them. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah. So on that point, so obviously this is the sort of filmmaking that you want to stay into, right? Because like it's not just like art to be artistic, it's also telling a story that's important for people to know and understand and to
Yeah.
shine a light for awareness.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, this is exactly what I want to be doing. Even when I was making commercials, or even when I was making music videos, like everything that I've done, my kind of sensitivity has always been my power, I guess. And
Mhm.
so I've tried to just use that. Growing up as a very sensitive young man, like I kind of saw only in my kind of probably mid-30s how strong a power that could be. And so that's what I've put into every bit of my work, is this kind of kind of touch the hearts first, and make sure that it's got integrity at the source of the story first. And then if you have to reverse engineer a charitable cause into that, then all the better, because you're going to have social impact. So yeah, it's what I want to do. I'm already writing quite a few scripts at the minute now, short form scripts for other charitable causes. So it's as well as trying to get a drama agent and all that kind of thing. This is what I want to be doing. I want to be telling stories that have meaning to them, and that just use my skill set in the best way I can, really, to try and
Mm.
to try and move people, I guess, and then have the discussion about the charitable cause afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. It really is.
Thanks,
Uh,
man.
yeah, that's incredible. I mean, this is, yeah. So where can we find you online to keep up with everything you're doing and the film, of course?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so Little Rock's going to be released on the 15th of April. We've got a lovely like landing page now with a lot of information about younger people with dementia. So it's got all the information you'll need for the charity on there. It's got the film itself, where it's going to be hosted exclusively, I think. And then my website is just nicktreefilm and .com, and my Instagram handle is nick_tree_film. So that's where, you can follow anything I'm doing. But yeah, that's kind of that's yeah, that's it. I think I haven't got much of a footprint, but
Oh, well, it sounds like you've got a pretty big footprint like on like at the moment because like you're making important work. It's the
yeah,
work speaks for itself.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So you mentioned it before that you started out as an editor, and now you're writing and directing. Are there any aspects of the industry that you'd like to pursue, or do you feel that you've hit your stride now?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah. So I still edit all my own work. So I'm still an editor as well as a director and a writer. So it's interesting. I've tried to maintain as much. I'm not a control freak, but but
Mm.
I know that my editing was where I started. So I feel like that's one of my stronger suits. And then I also work really closely with my composer. So again, Tom Keach is my music composer that I do all my work with. He
Mhm.
wrote this piece of music that Amelie learned, right? And Amelie did learn that piece of piano as well. None of it's fake. She went off. She'd never played piano before. It's another good story I should have told actually. Which she went off. She got her old music teacher from school to come on board and just teach her enough to be able to play that as competently as she needs to in the final scene,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that she could then go backwards and unlearn it. But I mean, incredible work. I know she was up at 5 in the morning, like playing it, practicing, so diligent. And that's why I love her. Yeah, so and Tom wrote the piece of music, so it had to be this classical piece that could be played simplistically, but
Mm.
also be played completely virtuos, as a virtuoso in the massive hall at the end.
Yeah.
And so he wrote that beautifully, and then he scored over the top the strings for the montage in the middle. So, and he scored my whole previous film with Kate Dickie, If Not Now When, and yeah, so that's something that I've worked really closely with him on because we played together since we were about 16, and so we've got this very great, wonderful shorthand in music, and we always make sure every instrument is played live. There's nothing fake. You hear every creaking of the stool, you hear every bum note and every finger on the string. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with our work. And again, his work is really important to my work. So that side of things is also really interesting to me still. But yeah, no, directing drama is where I want to be. And
Yeah.
so I'm still kind of, yeah, I'm trying to find an agent at the minute, for example. So that's where I'm looking to head.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's always important, but especially at the moment with like the advent of like AI and everything
Yeah.
else, because like, I mean, even yesterday was April Fool's Day. I mean, I have a blanket rule on the fan carpet, which has been there for like 22 years, now 23, because it's our 23rd, like this month marks 23
Oh,
years.
amazing.
Um,
Congratulations.
thank
Great.
you.
Yeah.
So, but like with the advent of AI and deep fakes and all the rest of it, it's like when you've got a filmmaker like you that's like going out there and actually like making this stuff, or even my friend Howard Ford, he made like his film Bone Keeper. They actually shot in real caves in Scotland, I believe. Yeah, it's just incredible. That's and even my other friend Mark Zammit, his film Jitters came out last month, and they shot in like a disused underground like station as well for the opening of that film. So it's just incredible what the independent space are actually doing
Yeah.
into because I mean they can do like wonderful things on sound stages and the volume and things like that, but being in a real location, your actors know what they're seeing and they can actually reach out and touch it.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's always been my ethos is real people in real spaces. And yeah, I wouldn't expect uh yeah, I'm not interested in kind of outsourcing my creativity or my intelligence to anything. So I want to keep it as I want to go as far away from it as possible, to be honest with you,
Mm,
and everything human made, because otherwise I'm just a data inputter. I've got no interest in that. So
yeah.
yeah, that's massively my kind of ethos.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, use it as a tool and to augment, not to replace.
Yeah,
Like the not to replace, because like the best example that I can use, it was an AI, but Andy Serkis as Gollum. That's the
yeah,
perfect augmentation.
yeah, yeah. That's
That's what AI should be.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he still embodied the character, and he still
Mm,
put all his personal life experience into that character that AI doesn't have. And also, I still think that the rising of AI is now, because as someone who edits their own work and shoots and has self-shot, and I've done all the roles you can do to
yeah, yeah.
learn, so I now know what to expect from my crew members and what I love about my crew members. And
Mm,
what is massively being undervalued now is the value of contribution. That's what I love. Like, you can sit there on a guitar and you can write a song,
mm,
but you, like with filmmaking, you need other people's opinions. You need to be sat around at lunch and have discussions about music and art, and then that'll feed into the next thing you do together, or even the next hour of working together, that's been informed by something you've just had a discussion with you wouldn't have thought of on your own in a little dark room.
mm,
So the value of collaboration is massively being undervalued, I think, with this new uprising. So yeah, I don't think people realize how many people contribute, because often case it's just my name on the top, or it's just Amelie and Neil and Kate's name on the poster.
mm,
But it's like it's so many people that have given their input and added value to that film hugely. You look at the sound design, you look at the music, you look at the lighting and the gaffer setup, and I always build my crew around people who I just love, who are kind and are just creative and just want to be there. So yeah, I think that's the big thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Augmentation, but people first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always been such a fan of raw cinema anyway, so I've not ever gone near the kind of fantasy sci-fi, and I understand that world is different
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
they do want, that is the artistic nature of VFX and things, and I can see how that will be a good tool, but I don't know how much it's gonna affect me. I'm hoping to remain true to what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, as long as it's like human first and people first, and then like use it to accent like they did with Gollum,
Yeah.
because he's the digital skin, but it's still a person underneath.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. It's a good. Yeah, I'll be thinking about that for a while.
Yeah, I think about it a lot. We're no, I mean it's still to this day, and that film is over 20 years old, but he's still the gold standard of augmentation, like whether it's CGI, motion
Yeah.
capture, he's still the gold standard. Like
Yeah.
nobody does it better. I mean, there obviously there are other motion capture artists, but nobody does it better than Andy Serkis. He's incredible.
Right. Yeah.
It's why it is why him and his Imaginarium, that's his company, get asked to come and be like King Kong and Godzilla, because he knows what he's doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
mastered that part.
yeah, he has,
I think it's
absolutely.
true of 35mm film, to be honest. I feel like digitally everyone's still harking back and trying to make it look like 35mm film. So it's like I'm hoping there's value, you know what I mean? I'm such a fan
Yeah,
of analog anyway in music and film, I'm always, calling back to Tom Waits on a piano and all that kind of thing.
yeah, awesome. All right. Awesome. Well, I'll leave it there, but thank you so much, Nick. And
Oh,
it's
it's
an
a
incredible
pleasure to meet you.
film.
Yeah.
I hope that the charity really love what you've done. Well, obviously they do, because it's been released on the 15th. So, and yeah, are you allowed to tease what you've got coming up, or is that I'm not quite sure how it works with charities.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, I'm now approaching a lot of charities, so I'm right at that point now where when Little Rock comes out, I'm hoping that will be a kind of calling card for what can be achieved with kind of good storytelling first, and then I've now written 3 scripts that I'm trying to go and approach different charities with, that are not in the dementia sector. So it's just trying to, yeah, for me, I'm looking to expand out into the charity sector and make more and more films like this with that kind of level of heart and storytelling at their core, and then hopefully that works well for charities as well, and the vehicle,
Awesome. Yeah,
communication. So yeah,
awesome.
that's kind of what I'm doing next. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with all of that, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today.
Lovely. Thanks, mate.
And
Really nice.
I can't wait to speak to Emily.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content. Bye for now.
You show what you can do Why don't you give me a sign? Like the sea that leaves a trail along that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine. Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.